motivation and preparation led to a new sensation, new creation. That's what you're facing. Now watch my elevation.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Ryan Garcia claims he's not going back down to 135. He's saying that he liked the way he felt at 140. He wants to stay at 140. But we all know at 135 is where Gervonta Tank Davis currently campaigns. It's where Devin the Dream Haney campaigns. It's where Vasily Lomachenko campaigns. And it's also where George Ferocious Kambosos campaigns. So he's saying he's moving up to 140. The question is it a duck or nah? And the or nah is because, well, Josh Taylor's at 140. They keep saying, although it's already known he's moving because he already vacated belts. And Teofimo Lopez just went to 140. So the question is he ducking? I'm going to turn it over to you. Complex, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's a duck necessarily, but I don't think it's a good decision. Yes, the 135 division is packed with talent, and there's a lot of big fights there. If he's not fighting at 135, it's kind of hard to make those fights happen. I mean, I'm sure all those guys, or some of them, are moving up. I'm sure Devin Haney is at some point moving up to 140. Gervonta has fought at 140 before. I could see him going up to there. I don't know about Kambosos or Teofimo's already up there. And Lomachenko probably is not going up to 140. If I was Ryan, I'd probably stay away from Lomachenko anyways. But in any event, I just think that for Ryan, he's still young, and you didn't really accomplish much at that weight class. So that's fine. I mean, depending on what you do with the rest of your career, but I think you do have an opportunity to make some noise at 135 and really test yourself, right? If you jump up to 140 now, it's like you kind of skipped all that. You didn't really go through that, just like if you look at Devin Haney, he's now tested himself against the best in the division, and look where he got him. He's now the undisputed champion, and you don't have any real championships at that weight class. I feel like it'd be a shame for your career if you fought at 135 but didn't get any real championships at that weight class and then moved up. And I think you need to go. It's okay if he takes a loss, but you need to go through some of those tough battles that's going to prepare you for the battles later on, So if I was him, I'd still try to campaign at 135. Now, at the same time, I just looked it up. Ryan is tall. He's 5'10". He's 23. It may be tough for him to make the weight, and maybe he does legitimately feel better at 140. That's a decision for him to make. But I would like to see him at least try to win a belt at 135 before going up. Now, obviously, there's a lot of politics and things like that, so that may not be easy. But I just don't think he should move on just yet. You start off at 135. You had some opportunities there, but things didn't work out. But there's big fights down there. You can have big fights down there before moving up to 140. Because even at 140, it's not like there's a lot of open vacant belts right now. I know that Josh Taylor is leaving and his belts will be vacating soon, but I still think try at 135. But if there's an opportunity at 140 for a vacant belt and you could slide in there, then it's hard to turn that down. But I still think you should. There's a lot of big fights at 135 that you should have before moving up to 140. I just don't think, and I think also the size of the guys is going to be different. Javier Fortuna at 140 is not the same as these other 140 pounders. A lot of these guys cut down in weight to get there. So you're going to be facing bigger men who are cutting down to get there. And maybe it's easier cut for you, but for them, they've been doing it for years. And there's a lot of tough guys down there. I mean, look at like a Regis Prograis. Who's the other dude? Yeah, there's a lot of good fighters at that weight class too.
Yeah,
and
Jose Ramirez.
That's what I was thinking of. And the thing is,
Maurice Hooker might give him problems.
Yeah. Oh, did Maurice Hooker move up to 147 or
did he? Oh, he may have. I think.
He fought Virgil Ortiz at 147.
Yeah,
and then lost. But anyways, there's a lot of tough fighters at 140, and they don't have as big a name. He might be going back down. Yeah, they don't have as big a name as the guys at 135. So even if you lose to the guys at 135, it's all right. Like, it's a Lomachenko. It's a Haney or whatever. You lose to a Jose Ramirez that the general public doesn't know as much, or Maurice Hooker or Regis Prograis, and those guys can hurt you too. That's the other thing. The power is different at 140. So for me, I think he should still try at 135.
No, we'll mention Jack Catterall. A lot of people think he beat.
Yeah, that's true. So I think he should still try 135. I think that's his best chance. But if you got an opportunity at 140 and you're feeling froggy, go for it. But I think it's a bad move. I think staying on 135.
All right, Conspiracy G.
Yeah, I agree with Complex, but I'm gonna still call it a duck. And the reason for it is because, and for a number of reasons, with Ryan in particular, and I'm trying to say this in a sensitive way, but Ryan's his mentality is not as strong as the average fighter, right? I think Ryan can't handle the criticism. And at 135, that's a stacked division. And it is true what Complex is saying that it could be maybe he does struggle to maintain 135, right? However, at his size and frame, he's one of the big guys at 135. So he has a better chance of dominating 135 than he does 140, right? But it's like, all right, another thing is, well, then is a political game. Who can he fight at 135, right? Now, if Haney gets past Kambosos, I think they can make that fight, right? Tank seems like he's willing to fight Ryan, right? Now, I don't know if he could get any of the other fights at 135, but I think those two fights he could definitely get, right? Now, do you really think Ryan is going to actually take either of those fights? He might take Tank because he thinks he's bigger than Tank, right? Because Tank's actually natural 135er. Like, Tank's not going up. Lomachenko's not going up. Kambosos aren't going up. These guys are too small for 140.
Lomachenko done already gone up enough.
Yo, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're not built for 140, but they're ideal for 135. Ryan is like, okay, well, if I do stay, and remember with his back and forth with Canelo, he's like, yo, I'm in a shark infested division. You know what I mean? So he's expressing like, yo, this is tough. You know what I mean? So to me, that kind of sounds like, I don't really want to challenge myself. I just want to pose as a king. So if I could just get out of this division, and he could just claim politics, what fight can I make? Nobody signed to the zone. Nobody wants to work with Oscar and Golden Boy, blah, 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 right? And that could be his out. So even if people are going to call him a duck, this and a third, he doesn't care because at least he gets to maintain his O. So to me, essentially, that's a duck. That's why I don't really like what Ryan is doing. I think if anything, right before you go to 140, at least do the Tank fight or a Haney fight, and then you can at least get your respect. Because then, I mean, Tank isn't really a champion. Let's just keep it real. But in the eyes of the fans, that's a championship fight, right? Same thing with a Haney fight. But at the very least, I do think Haney's on his way to 140 also. Like, Haney has that frame similar to Ryan, where it's like it must be hard for these guys to maintain 135. Haney's probably doing it way better than Ryan, but eventually both gentlemen are going back. They're going up to 140. So they could possibly fight at 140, but Tank ain't going to 140. You know what I mean? Like, and if Tank does go to 140, it might just be just for this fight. But Tank's his best at 135. Fight Tank before you go to 140. And if you're really not trying to go back to 135, if the answer isn't like a Josh Taylor where it's like, I'm really struggling to make weight, I just can't do it, I'm fatigued, I'm this, I'm that, then I could be like, I understand he has to do it for health reasons. But him going to 140 right now just seems like it's a mental health reason. I'm shook to death. I don't want to get crucified out here. I don't want to lose my O to another guy because these are real shark-infested waters. If I'm going to lose my O, let it be to do that 140 so then I can have set excuses like, oh, they're bigger than me, they're this, they're that, so that's why I lost. But here at 135, they're kings just like you're a king, right? So let's see who's the king of the hill. You leaving tells me you don't want no problem. So, yeah, I think it's a duck.
TBE, you say what?
I wouldn't say it's a duck. It's a Teofimo. It's realizing I can't get no food out here, so he got to move up. So,
That's what T.O. did, bro. What are you talking about? T.O. literally struggled to make weight.
Like I said, he can't get no food out here, so he got to move up. And he's gonna move. The reason he's moving up is because he don't want to fight these guys, which is it's a duck in itself, but it's more
But
of on the
Tio fought
status
these
side.
guys.
True. But Tio don't want to fight these guys. You get what I'm saying? Tio fought him, but he don't want to fight him. So Ryan he's taking heed to the warning. He's taking heed to the warning, and he's moving on up to the east side. You know, I had to throw that in there. But I feel Ryan feels it's a better opportunity for him to win at 140 than 135. Which when you look at 135, there's a lot of killers out there. And you know, it's like instead of I don't want to slip on my words. Instead of being down there where you know that you face a lot of dangers, you know, ease yourself into a different division where you feel you can accomplish more and make a name for yourself and officially solidify yourself as a solid boxer in the world. But it's not. It's for me. I would like to see Ryan fight Devin. I would like to see him fight Tank. He's been calling these guys out a lot, but if he's gonna move on up, 140 has been a simple division for some time now. You know, we had how many undisputed champions? We had Josh. We had. Listen,
Right.
Don't
Josh
laugh
Taylor,
at this.
Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, we had. You know, he sees an opportunity he can capitalize on. But I'm saying everybody moves up. At one point, Devin's gonna move up. Tank might move up. I don't know about Lomachenko. Lomachenko look like this is his division. But Teofimo, we saw Teofimo go up. We saw, you know, at one point we're gonna see these fighters from this division move up. But Ryan, if this is what you want to do, I applaud it. But I don't want to see you fighting food no more. Don't go to 140 to fight food. Go to 140, fight the up and coming guys, and then go for undisputed after that. There's some belts out there that's vacant. There's an opportunity for you to become champion. Do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I really think Ryan that much of a killer, huh? All right.
No.
All right. And so here's what Trill Dollar Bill had to say on this matter.
I don't think it's a duck. I just feel like Ryan is he's comfortable. He's comfortable at that 140 right there, you know. We go wherever you feel comfortable at. You know, Tank done fought at 140 before when he fought Barrio, so why not? You know what I'm saying?
All right. So that's what Trill Dollar Bill had to say on the subject. Here's what I have to say. Duck. It's a duck for a number of reasons. The first reason why it's a duck is you want to call out Gervonta Tank Davis, but say you're not going back down to 135 pounds. So you're already putting a condition on fighting Tank. You're saying, I'm fighting Tank. I want Tank next, but I'm not going back down to 135. So that means if Tank says, I'll fight you for all the money, everything you want, but it's got to be at 135, you're going to say no, and we already know that. Because you said you're not going back down to 135. Here's another reason why that's a duck to me. It's a duck because the reason you fought at 140 wasn't because you couldn't make 135. It's because Fortuna couldn't make 135. So if you could have made 135 comfortably, but you're still choosing to not fight Gervonta at 135 because you just want to feel more comfortable, that shows like you just want an advantage. You want it where you feel like you got the advantage. But what about Tank, who's shorter than you? Shorter reach than you. Tank is giving up height. He's giving up reach. You want him to give up weight too? You want everything in your advantage. And you can make 135 comfortably based on what you said. Now, had you had said, we agreed to fight at 140 because it was difficult for both of us to make 135, that would have been one thing. You said you fought at 140 because Fortuna couldn't make 135. So if you can make 135 and Tank wants to fight at 135, I say you fight at 135 because that's where you've been campaigning. You already have the height advantage. You already have the reach advantage. You want to have the weight advantage too. And Trill brought up a great point. He did fight Barrios at 140. That don't mean he's going to fight Ryan at 140. It's a different circumstance, different fighter, different people, different set of negotiations. So again, for me, when you say that my antennas are already going off. Okay. Also, when you say you're not going back to 135, but you say you want to fight Tank, who's currently at 135, I think about, well, what else is at 135? Devin Haney?
Your arch rival, Devin Haney.
You wouldn't go back down to 135 to fight Devin Haney for undisputed?
Exactly.
So if Devin offers you the opportunity to fight him for undisputed at 135, he can't give you that offer at 140. You're not going to go back down to 135. And again, the reason why you fought at 140 wasn't because you couldn't make weight. It was because Fortuna couldn't make weight. You say you can make 135 comfortably, so why wouldn't you fight Devin for undisputed? It'll be the biggest fight of your life. It would solidify your career. It'll give you the opportunity to become undisputed champion in one night. You know how many people dream of that? Most people got a, Devin even got in a kind of dispute where he was emailed the belt. Was he really champion? Blah, blah. So although he became undisputed in one night, technically it was a lot for him too, like that he had gone through. Typically, you don't just get that opportunity. You wouldn't even take that to fight Devin for undisputed. Okay, so you want Devin to move up to 140 and give up his belts to fight you? What makes you the A side? See, you're already starting negotiations off in a bad way, which tells me you're trying to duck because you're taking A side stance with a D side resume. No, Vasily Lomachenko would cook Javier Fortuna. Would cook him. Like Vasily would be deciding what punch he wants to knock him out with in the middle of the fight. He'll beg the ref first, like, please, please, please. Fine, okay. Left hook coming soon. That's what he would do to him. Devin would school Javier Fortuna. School him. So this is what we're talking about when we talk about Ryan Garcia saying he wants the best in the division. I tell you what, I would have been more impressed if you would have did that to Richard Comey. I would have been more impressed if you would have did that to Nakatani. See, those are some really good fighters you could have fought and would have told us more about you than Javier Fortuna. But now you're at 140 saying everybody needs to come to 140. What made you the shot caller? You haven't done more than Vasily. Because you got more Instagram followers than Vasily. Stop it. Like
he's a king. Aiden, he's a king.
The king of gossip. All right. Now, when we talk about 140 now, what are you going to 140 to do? Because this is also very important. Are you going to 140 to fight Zepeda? Are you going to 140 to fight Jose Ramirez? Are you going to 140 to fight Tio? Because if you do that, although to me, I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like that's still taking the easy route. I feel like Devin will move up right now and beat Zepeda and Jose Ramirez. Hell, I feel Shakur Stevenson will move up right now and beat those guys. Shakur
will move up to wherever Ryan's at to beat Ryan.
Shakur, yeah, he don't want no. Listen, to be honest with you, none of them want no parts of that dude, right? So
maybe only Haney might.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that any of them couldn't win. What I'm saying is, in training camp, you're in for a rough night. You're in for a rough night. That's what you know. Here's what I'm saying to you. What are you going on 140 to do? Are you going on 140 to beat these guys to a belt at 140? So one day they got to see you. Because if you do that, then I'm cool with it. But if you're going to 140 to fight the Fortunas at 140, if you're going to 140 to fight, what Bachel, what weight was Bachel at? He was at 130. He probably need to move up to 140. But if you're going to 140 to fight the middle contenders, the fringe contenders, the has-beens, if you're going to 140 to do that, you ducking. So again, I do think it's a duck because his best fights are at 135, and he is not returning to 135 because he just doesn't feel like it. Not out of necessity. So I don't want to hear the necessity argument because he said it himself. He could have made 135. He just doesn't want to. He just wants to stay at 140. And he said one last thing. He said he's going to record negotiations. He said that and at the end. He said, I'm going to record negotiations so y'all can see it's not me. We just saw it was you. We just saw it was you. Because you said, I want Tank at 140. And if it's at 135, then I'm not doing it. So we already know who's responsible for the fight not happening. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Like, for real, like, share, and subscribe if you watch the channel. And check out our podcast on all major streaming services. It's the Boxing Bros with Complex, who's really a boxing bro too.